A few days ago, in my first YouTube video ever, I went over my opinion on what could cause the downfall of the highly anticipated MMO, Ashes of Creation. If you missed that video and are interested in seeing it, the link is in the description below. Check it out. I put that video out first because I was still fleshing out the ideas for this one. Most MMOs that fail do so for the same few basic reasons, making that a very easy video to script. When an MMO is a huge success, the reasons are extremely varied and specific, so this one required a little more time in the oven. With that said, let's get straight into it. Here is my list of top 5 reasons Ashes of Creation will be a smash success. Number 5. Unique PvP design. Pretty much every MMO on the market these days that has open world PvP has one of two ways of dealing with penalties for dying. In almost all of them, you res back at your bind point or the nearest town and you have to run back. That's it. That's the whole penalty. This leads to a bland open world experience where every enemy you deal with has pre-scripted AI, and if you have any sense at all, you've already figured out how to exploit that AI. It's never changing, and everything is an automatic win. Boring, predictable, and utterly unsatisfying. There are few MMOs out there where death means you drop everything you were carrying. Armor, weapons, potions, materials, etc. This has a tendency to be far too harsh for almost everyone. Dropping that shield you just won on an extremely lucky roll on the world boss a few hours ago is not something that most people are willing to put up with. In Ashes, you can engage in open world PvP with no fear of losing your gear, but instead you will drop a percentage of your potions and other consumables, crafting mats you've been mining on, and so on. Now, if you run around ganking people who have done nothing to you, you can become corrupted, and at that point, if you get killed in open world PvP, you will lose all your gear and items you're carrying. So if you really want to kill someone who has no interest in fighting you, you can, but there are risks. If you guys would like a video explaining how all those mechanics work specifically, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll add it to the list of upcoming projects. It's pretty complex. Back in the early days of MMOs, I played a couple of games that had similar mechanics, and even though it was risky, people still led the life of the PK, or player killer as it was called back then. It was risky but thrilling, and entire guilds and alliances formed for the express purpose of hunting those players down. This system will keep open world PvE, or even something as boring as mining ore, fresh and exciting at all times, while not going so far as to make just leaving the safety of the city a most fear-inducing thought. People won't get bored nearly as easily, so they will keep logging in and paying that sub fee. Number 4. The node system. Ashes of Creation's node systems is one of the most complex and thoroughly thought out game systems I've seen in any video game, let alone an MMO. There are hundreds of hours of videos here on YouTube explaining the myriad ways the players will interface with the various nodes, so I obviously can't explain the whole system right here in this little section. That's for a future video. But the Cliff Notes version goes something like this. There will be many nodes all over the map at towns, harbors, castles, and other points of interest. Every player will be a citizen of one node or another at all times. Each node has a level that can raise or lower depending on the actions of its citizens. Taking out bosses that are terrorizing the area or gathering lots of wood and stone to donate to the town are examples of things that can help you level up your node, while ignoring rampaging monsters in the area is a great example of something that could cause your node to lose levels. Nodes have a sphere of influence visible on the map, and that sphere can shrink or grow, expand, warp, and twist depending on its level and power. Leveling up nodes can have many effects, like opening previously inaccessible dungeons or giving its citizens access to crafting recipes no one else will have. This is just the most basic overview of the system. It's so much more complex than what I've talked about here. And just like item number 5, this will keep the game fresh at all times. Players will not run out of things to do. You can always work on leveling up your node, or taking advantage of whatever new thing the last level up unlocked. If you happen to live in a top level node, you can bet your ass there'll be players seeking to dethrone you and knock you down a peg, so you'll be busy playing defense. Between the PvP and the possibility of getting jumped at any time and losing some of your stuff, and the need to constantly be monitoring your node level, you should never be bored. But in case you ever are, Ashes has so much more to offer, like naval warfare, instanced and open world raid bosses, PvP arenas, and a crazy robust crafting system. Number 3, self-publishing. This is one of those systems that has sunk a great many MMOs before they ever had a chance to be great. When the developers and publishers are not the same company, there's always a difference of opinion for when the game should launch. Publishers want to launch sooner to start getting their money back, and developers would like to finish their game. Developers are always ultimately at the behest of the publishers, who seemingly always make the game launch way too early. And from there, we've all heard this story 24 times. The game isn't finished, it's lacking polish and in-game content, a great many quality of life features, and is usually pretty buggy. Players flood in at the start in anticipation of a new MMO, but the missing features and bugs cause many to leave before they even max out a character, and the ones who might stick around long enough to reach endgame leave because there isn't one. They always end up switching to a free-to-play business model and become relegated to the dustbin of MMO history. Ashes is being self-published by Intrepid Studios. There is no danger of the development team receiving a phone call from someone who doesn't play or develop video games demanding the game be released in 3 months or else. The game will launch when it's done. It will be feature complete and hopefully mostly bug-free. Players will find a robust in-game with no shortage of things to do and then stick around. Number 2. Steven Sharif. Steven is the owner and creative director at Intrepid Studios. He put up his own money to fully fund Ashes right out of the gate. He's a long-time MMO player who, like a great many of us, is sick of being let down and dying a little more inside with every botched MMO launch. He's doing this the right way, and I think it's going to pay huge dividends in the future. And if we're all truly lucky, change the face of the way MMOs and other video games are developed. I've listened to dozens of hours of Steven being interviewed, doing developer diaries and on podcasts, and this man truly understands why people play MMOs and seems like he knows how to deliver it. His answers are always well thought out, not contradictory to something he said 3 interviews ago, and is always leading towards the same consistent design philosophy. He's not yet a name the whole gaming community knows like Todd Howard or Kojima, but there is a good chance he will be one before it's all said and done. Number 1. Open development. Traditionally, video games, including MMOs, are developed in the dark. The dev teams might put out a video every 6 months or so outlining in some super basic way what they're working on or what systems they'd like to implement, but that's it. Ashes is being developed in the wide open for anyone to see. They do dev diaries all the time, letters from the creative director monthly. They play the game live on stream for literally anyone to just tune in and watch. They grant interviews to massive YouTubers and Twitch stars and thoroughly answer questions with no hesitation. They've discussed many of the game's systems in great detail. You simply cannot get this type of access during the development of a game. Steven has said on a few occasions what a risk it is to do this, and I'll grant he's a real video game developer and a millionaire, and I'm just some random guy flapping his trap on the internet, but I think he's wrong here. I think it's not only not a mistake, I think it will be a huge boon for him, his company, and the game. Right now you, yes you watching this video, you can help influence the shape this game is going to take. Start participating in their live streams. Get active on the forums with your ideas. This dev team is actually listening, responding, and changing things based on fan feedback. Yes, your ideas might not get implemented, but if you approach them respectfully with changes you think should be made, there is a high chance you will get a well thought out, very nice response explaining why they can't or won't be using your idea. There have already been numerous changes made to the game, the systems, and the artwork due to fan feedback, and it's only going to make the game better. And in the end, it will be why this MMO succeeds on a scale not seen in at least a decade. And that's it. Those are my 5 main reasons I see Ashes being a massive financial and commercial success in an era where MMOs are on the decline. What do you think? Did I leave something out that's crucial? Or is one of the items on my list not a big deal at all? Let me know down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like. It would mean so much to me. I've got so many video ideas on tap. I want to tackle the lack of group finder in Ashes, delve more deeply into open world PvP, and I plan to cover several other games as well. Subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like to check out that content as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.